Okay, so it's 11 o'clock Friday on the 22nd of May 2020. I think it's day 60 of COVID lockdown, and I have the privilege of presenting some new tech, really just following on from Mark Schrader's presentation on the M2M. And without further ado, I'm going to just go straight in onto my presentation, and we'll take it from there. So what I'm going to be talking about today is about edge computing delivered through Adroid, the edge gateway, which encompasses the OPCUA and all the other stuff today. So what we're going to talk about is what is edge computing, using Adroid as your digital strategy gateway if you want to, a demonstration, and then a discussion. Okay, so looks like I've got some timing problems on here again. Okay, so what is edge computing? Excuse me, sorry, I've got to just fix something here. I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to go back to what we were talking about. I'm going to leave it on here. Apologies for this. We've got some timing stuff that is stuck, but let's just leave it as it is. It automatically cycles. Sorry guys, apologies for that. Right, so what is edge computing? It's defined, if we just go to Wikipedia, there we go. I can't do this, really. Just look at this. Sorry, I have to cut it out. Okay, so sorry about that, folks. Right, so what is edge computing? It's a distributed paradigm, if you want to. I'm going to just minimize that so it looks as close to it as possible. And it's all about getting data on the edge. What does that mean? It really is transferring data from real-time systems, whether they're IoT, whether they're plant data systems, doing processing on that data as close to the source as possible, and then transferring that into the cloud to take advantage of services being offered and storage being offered in the cloud, which, as we know, can be, first of all, expensive, and secondly, most of that is hard coding, so you don't want to transfer random data or real-time data and then do that post-processing in the cloud, because that will prove extremely expensive. And we have to try and avoid the concept of, we use as historians, where basically they are saying that we are completely, we need to log everything, and then they worry about the data later. And I think that's been a bit of a shortcoming based on what we can see. I'm locked out. Okay, so there we go. We're going live. Okay, I'm sure you can hear me. Sorry guys, my camera seems to have gone a bit strange as well. All right, so just carrying on here. Why are we doing all this cloud stuff, and what is the promise of the technologies that's going to bring to the party? We've all heard about the fourth industrial revolution, and I always refer back to Russell Ackoff's definition, where he tried to define what this concept of these 5 layers from data, information, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. And basically the definition of that is well, we'll come to the definition, but essentially he defined that every single level between those stages, if you want to, data to information, to knowledge, to understanding, and to wisdom, where each level is essentially 10 times the value of the previous level. So if you take that multiplication factor, if you can get up to wisdom from data, wisdom is 10,000 times the value of the data that underlies it. So that's key. And you can go and research the stuff. We have the definitions, but if you look at, for example, data, that's symbols that represent objects, events, and their properties. Those are things like temperature, pressure. It's the stuff we live with all day. information is defined is if you can get answers to the questions of who, what, when, and how many. That is information, and then it goes up the hierarchy. So, for example, if you can say when did the plant start, when did it stop, how many times did something happen, that is the concept of information. So, before we get too excited, I can tell you that most plant information systems, including historians, etc., are probably sitting halfway into information, and certainly we produce an enormous amount of data. So that's where we are right now. And the concept of cloud computing and software as a service and other technologies that are being made more accessible, if you want to, sit in the cloud. And so it's really the promise of going from information to knowledge and understanding, where technologies such as AI, deep learning, machine learning is going to get there. So I had this guy was doing a bit of a dance there for us, but you can see he was really hoping, and I think that's what we're hoping for from these technologies. And certainly I can tell you now, they're not trivial exercises to access that tech. So what I'm presenting today is all about what we're bringing to the table as an offering to our customers, where you can use the Adroid server if you want to. Where you can use the Adroid server as a gateway. We're talking about the edge gateway, where you can either use your standard SCADA, or you can deploy this as a separate product, where you can use all our drivers to communicate to your PLCs, use all the concepts of what we bring to you in our agent server technology, and then on the northbound side you can expose them using OPC, OPCUA, MQTT, native cloud, and that's what I'm going to show today, where you can take data and literally push it straight into one of the endpoints, AWS, Azure, or Google. Right now we have it working with Azure, which we'll use for this presentation, and of course then you can share that data, and the key here is to try and take advantage of that technology, where you manipulate the data, you take the right data and you put it up in the cloud at the right time. So that's what we're going to present today. So at the south side we talk PLCs, RTUs, and OPC for other servers through our agent server, and northbound using OPCUA, MQTT, etc., into the cloud. So the demonstration, and I always prefer to do demonstrations. What we've got is a simulator at the office that is running an FX5 PLC, a little crusher plant simulation, which allows for it's a crushing into a hopper and a conveyor taking the product out onto a truck. And really you can vary the speed, and I'll show that to you now. So, and then of course that is going straight into the Adroid demo in the cloud. So that is live as we speak. And then from there we are pushing the data into an IoT endpoint. So that's what we're going to show. But of course you don't have to have your Adroid in the cloud. You can be using your Adroid standard at your plant and go straight into the cloud from your plant. So we're just really demonstrating the concept of being able to take our MTM and go forward. So now what I'm going to do is just drop and run the first video. Morning all. Today our webinar is all about using Adroid as an edge gateway. Really what that means is taking advantage of cloud services offered by Amazon, yourselves, Azure, and what we're going to be doing is a demonstration using both our M2M protocol, which we will be putting to an Adroid in the cloud, and after that we will show you the capability of where we take the data directly from the Adroid server, which could be in the cloud, could be at your premises, and injecting that straight into the Azure cloud. And then we've got an application that will show you how near real time, in fact, it is emulating the data that's happening in the field. And in order to do that, we are using the same demonstration that Mark Schrader showed a couple of weeks ago on our M2M protocol. And if you'd like to just come with me, we're going to be using the emulator which Mark showed, and what that is, it's basically a mining application, and in this instance it's fairly simple. We have a truck that is taking from a hopper which is being fed by a crusher, and that is just emulated inside the PLC, which we can stop and start from the front of this unit. So it is it's completely off a network. You can see there are no network cables here. And just to show you what we've got inside, we've got the FX5, which will be running our M2M protocol. It's just on a network, a little a router. But the key here is really this cellular gateway or cellular router modem from Moxa, which we are using. So basically what is happening is the M2M protocol is establishing a connection to our server in the cloud. We are emulating the data, processing. This has just got a simulation program. We're taking certain data, such as hopper running, conveyor speed, level in the hopper, and we'll be putting those then through to the cloud. So it can be applied to anything remotely that you want to, and we are going to use this application as a start. As you can see on the SCADA system, the hopper is empty. The conveyor is stopped because there's no truck, and the crusher stopped. So basically what's going to happen, if you look here, is I'm going to first of all put the truck in place. So by clicking that switch, you'll see that the loading apron and the conveyor start running, although the hopper is empty, and I'm going to start the crusher. And if you look at the screen, you'll see now that they are both green. The crusher is running, we're off taking, and you can see now that the level in the hopper is rising, and then all it's going to do is go between the high level and the low level, and depending on the speed, and the speed you can see here is adjusting. Right now it's around 80 odd kilos. If I now reduce it, I'll reduce the speed of the offtake. You will see that the speed comes down, and of course then the hopper will go up and fill a lot quicker. So that's all it's going to do, and basically what we're doing is we are collecting the data using the M2M protocol, transferring that to the Adroid demo in the cloud, and from there we are now every minute processing that data, taking the same data that we have here and popping it straight into the Azure IoT hub. And from there, of course, your analysts can take that data and analyze the plant in this sort of industrial revolution IR4 kind of strategy, and using the technology that sits in the cloud to analyze the data and produce the insights. Is coming through to the Adroid SCADA, which is acting as a gateway, an edge gateway, which allows you to process that data, get exactly what you want, and then only send the relevant data into the cloud. I think people make a lot of mistakes about thinking they're going to put all their data in the cloud. First of all, that becomes incredibly expensive, and secondly, it really, you need to then process that data to get to the relevant data, which doesn't make any sense because that's all code and expensive stuff to do. Whereas you've got it sitting in Adroid, and we will use it as an edge gateway to send the data to the cloud. So if we look here, you will see that the speed is sitting at 84, the level in the hopper is at 0, and you'll see that's shown on the cloud here. The second tab here is a view of the data sitting in the cloud, and if you look at that again, you'll see that the speed is sitting at 84, and if I click on the level, you'll see the level 0. So what I'm going to do now is to start the process, and I will start the conveyor, and I will start the crusher as a feed, and you'll see it goes up pretty slowly. And what I'm going to do now is reduce the speed. In fact, let's just let it run for about a minute, because it takes about a minute. We've set it up that it only transfers the data from the cloud, our cloud, no, it's the Adroid SCADA sitting in the cloud, to the Azure server once a minute. So again, you've got to be aware that in a normal process, that this is a process that doesn't change very quickly, and let's do that. You'll see that in fact we've set up the PLC emulation that the crusher fills at about 100 kilograms a second, and we are now taking off at 84 kilograms a second. And so what I'm going to do is slow slow that down. So I'm going to bring the speed of the conveyor down to about 50 or maybe even 40. You can see on the right hand side it is coming down on the graph, and I've reached the high level, or the high level set point, the cutoff, which is about 800. It takes a little while, of course, to empty the conveyor. We try to emulate exactly what it happens. And what I'm going to do now is shut the conveyor off. You can see my speed of the conveyor is at 44, and that's the important one to see in the cloud. So once a minute or at some point in time, the operator slowed the system down, and that's the important stuff that we need to be able to simulate the data in the cloud. So you can see both. It will have gone up, and if you notice on the right hand side, they are both flatlined. So that's where we're sitting at. And if I pop across to the time series insight and I refresh the data, you will see, let's just go and look at that value, and it's gone up to 1388. How does that compare to here? You can see that it's a little bit behind. Obviously you didn't get the last feed, but if you just wait a couple of minutes and we refresh that data, that will in fact increase to 1000, to the same value. Likewise, you can see that we reduced the speed here to 44, and if I compare that to what's happening in the cloud, that's exactly what we've got in Adroid. So that's the power of this stuff, and we suggest what you do is please come and talk to us if you have any requirements to use Adroid as your edge gateway for events, for alarms, for data sitting in databases. It's the same mechanism. We will be selling this as a separate product all by itself as an IoT and edge gateway, which gives you access to plant data using anything like OPC, MQTT, Sigfox. Process the data, put it in the cloud, and then you can go and do your actionable insights if you want on the cloud. So just to confirm, if you look at it at 1433, let's pop across to the time series, let's refresh that, and you'll see in fact that it has come up to 1433. So what we're seeing here is exactly what's happening in the plant, and that's the power of what we're going to bring to the table. So please, if you have any requirements for us to come and assist, we understand this stuff very well, and we're in a very good position to give you plant data into the cloud using our IoT and edge gateway products. So thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to feedbacks in the next while. All right, guys, so those were just 3 little videos. Apologies for the PowerPoint. We will fix that when we upload it. So in summary, we've just done a couple of things there. Just to summarize it, we used the M2M protocol, which again could be any protocol. We were just showing the concept of sending data from a remote site to a cloud server, and then from a cloud server, an Adroid agent server, through our OPC, in fact through our edge gateway, if you want to, taking some relevant data and posting it straight into the Azure cloud, or the endpoint if you want to. And then of course there are a myriad of services that are available for you to then go and take that data, manipulate it for looking at those valuable insights. So that's about it. I hope it was useful. I think there's a long way to go in this stuff, but we certainly are very well placed to assist customers in achieving that, and looking forward to engaging on those sorts of applications for you. So if there are any comments, please feel free to chuck them up, and I'll certainly try and comment on it, or try and answer it. Again, I apologize. I mean, not apologize, but certainly I appreciate you guys coming through to seeing what we're up to today. I think it's very exciting times, and if we're all preparing for this, we will be able to engage you as soon as possible. This should be released in the next, I would say, 2 months. So again, it's a good time to start talking about this. And next week I will, or maybe not next week, but when I get a slot, I'm going to be doing a presentation on some of the new stuff that's coming up, including our historian, our process analyst, which are again all about trying to deliver more value on your SCADA systems. And another interesting part of the deliveries to coming soon is that the Adroid Air is now on iOS. So if you've got an Apple mobile, you can download very soon, in fact maybe even now, I'm not quite sure, and test the iOS version of Adroid Air, which allows you to put process values as well as alarms and events directly to users on their mobile phone. So all very exciting mobile stuff. And again, thank you very much for your I don't see that too many questions coming up, so with that we'll just shut down and enjoy your day, and we'll speak soon. Just don't forget the other ones that are coming up. Please have a look. I know Sammy does a good job of sending them out. Register for them, support us, like us, and again, ask if you've got any queries. Please please feel free to send your inquiries around what you would like us to present. I know Dean's been very popular on the standard Adroid stuff, where it's very sort of questions and answers based, but please, any subject you would like us to engage you on, we will certainly try. Thank you very much, and have a great day.